Hi, everybody. Avi Meyers here, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hersh and myself. Hey, Molly, how you doing? Look us up on the World Wide Web at www.ntnm.org, where you can actually watch the shows in their entirety on the web. Caps24.org to find out the next Caps meeting in West Rogers Park, in Rogers Park. Very important, show up at your Caps meetings. Remember, if you don't actually talk to a policeman, forget it. And hey, Marty, how you doing? But we'll talk about Marty on another show, so stay tuned for Marty. In the meantime, we have a brand new organization in the neighborhood, or I don't know how new exactly, but fairly new, and like to let you people know about it. It's called the West Rogers Park Community Organization, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to, and myself also, to Chris Brown and Zach Shiffman. Chris, how are you?
Good to meet you.
Zach, a pleasure.
A pleasure.
Okay, what is the West Rogers Park Community Organization?
It's a neighborhood group. I sort of grew out of a number of folks coming together and saying we don't really have a neighborhood group, and sort of represents the whole broad community. And people said we really want to put something together that brings us all together, lets us talk about issues.
Okay, and when did it start?
It started about a year ago last summer,
Okay.
and I think it is also an extension of the Boone school parents who were trying to get a new school built in the area. So a large number of them are also involved in the organization, and that was probably the core group that came together.
And how many members do you have now?
Over 150 people who've participated in one way or another, come to stuff, joined up. You know that we just did this referendum campaign, so a lot of folks.
Oh yeah, let's talk. We'll talk about let's talk about the referendum. Absolutely.
But let me just also say that, as Zach said, that we grew out of the local, the sort of the Boone stuff, but we spent the past year, I guess, sort of talking about issues that people were concerned about, and the two big ones that came up were education in the neighborhood and community planning, which is what led us to.
Okay.
I wanted just to be sure that folks knew it's grown way beyond just thinking about one school, but thinking about a whole bunch of neighborhood issues and trying to create a place for neighbors to talk about those issues.
Yeah, the truth is, it's probably been since, I don't know, 6-7 years since the Northtown Community Council really was an entity here, a real entity.
Right.
So I don't think there's any question but that a community organization is very sorely needed. Do you have regular meetings?
We do. We meet about every other month at different places around the neighborhood. We have an email list that we send out, and they're open to anybody. So if folks want to email me, it's rcbbrown@sbcglobal.net.
rcbbrown@sbcglobal.net.
Right, 2 B's in there.
Okay.
And we'll be happy to email them a notice for the meeting, and they can certainly join us.
So rcbbrown, BROWN, at sbcglobal.net.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where do you meet?
We all different places. So we've met at Boone, we've met at the Bethesda Lutheran, the school,
Yeah.
Other places sort of around.
Without revealing your exact address, whereabout are you guys in the neighborhood?
I live on 2400 block of Coyle.
Okay.
I'm down the street from you.
Okay.
On Washtenaw.
Oh, on Washington. Okay. Are you on the 6700 block?
Yeah, or 6600 block.
Okay, yeah, about a block and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
I walk by there all the time. I'm a walker, so...
So am I.
Okay. Very good. And okay, now, there was a referendum, okay, and the referendum... Well, you tell us about the referendum. It was your referendum.
Okay.
Well, it was a... One part of the group had to do with the trying to put together a community planning board, and the first step for that was to establish some need in the neighborhood. And so we went around this past summer, and we obtained about 11 or 1,200 signatures so that we could put the referendum on the
How many were
ballot.
needed?
I think about 900.
Actually, you're playing games by only getting that many more than...
We were doing this kind of at the last minute.
Right. The rule of thumb in Chicago is you really want double whatever
you want
they
double.
require.
Yes, that's quite true. That's quite true.
Okay.
And once we had the referendum on the ballot, we then proceeded to canvass for November's election. And I don't have the final figures, but I believe it passed overwhelmingly by almost 90%.
Well, yeah, the last I saw, but then again, you have to keep updating. And on the show with Jim Nally that we aired last week, we talked about the problems at the Board of Election Commissioners. It did have at least 87.5% the last time I saw.
With this precinct not being counted, and I personally...
My precinct?
This precinct was not counted. 30th. Are you on the 30th?
You know what? I don't know. I vote at Bethesda.
Okay, so actually the precinct that votes at Boone was not counted, plus 2 others.
Yeah, no, I live around the corner. I'm literally 2 doors from the Boone school out, but you know what?
Right.
No, I don't vote at Boone. This is the city of Chicago. Come on.
You have to
I got to
work
work to Bethesda.
But I think when you add in the missing precincts, it's going to push 90%.
Okay, cool. Well, because this is like a Boone School crowd, and the Boone School, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think that the idea behind it was that we really think there needs to be a place where folks in the neighborhood can come together and talk about development issues, because it's sort of, Zach and I were talking on the way over here that development seems to be running rampant in our community, and last summer a single-family house behind me was torn down and a 3-flat condominium building sort of sprung up in its place. Oh wow! And there was no place for us to really talk about.
Now, some of this stuff, unfortunately, I'm not a lawyer and I don't know totally about zoning, but there are some times where, like, it's not a zoning issue and you can just do it.
In many cases. Yeah. And if you look on, for example, Washtenaw, you'll find that there are multi-unit dwellings there along with single-family homes. And so it's very easy to buy a bungalow, tear it down without consulting anyone,
and build a 3-flat.
And put up a 3-flat.
Yeah, I know. Right. I have a single-family home, and I like it that way.
Yeah.
Of course, then again, down the block on Rockwell, there was an auction today. I don't know what happened. Somebody built five.
That's right.
5 houses that were they started at 899,000 originally. They were down to about 8 that were out of character for the neighborhood, and that's why they're auctioning them off.
Absolutely.
Right. I think it's important for us to have a place to talk about it. Is that the kind of development that we want? And I think we should also be clear, we're not anti-development, because I think many of our folks were like, we'd like to see a lot more development on Western and Toohey for local neighborhood-owned businesses. So it's not about being for or against development. It's really about, is there a place for us to come together, have some meaningful conversations where we're not just reacting to this building or that, but where people can say, we really want a neighborhood that has this, this, and this.
Yeah, we'd like to articulate a long-term vision of the neighborhood.
No, I think that's a good idea. I know that the last time I had Alderman Stone on, he talked about how he didn't want to have any more zoning changes until he saw the net effect of all the changes that are going on now.
I think that's very wise.
I agree. Yeah. I am not a big... Now, let's talk about that for a minute. Are you guys are not... You're connected with anybody politically or not?
Absolutely not.
Okay. No. And let's make this clear, because... so you're absolutely positively not politically connected with Democrat, Republican, Independent, the Socialist Party, Gene McCarthy, who did pass away but still might run for president, anybody.
Nobody, not a single candidate. And I think it's one of the things, we've had lots of conversations within our group, and if we were to take a poll of all, for the alderman, our group would be split pretty much all across the board for all the candidates. For us, it's not about the candidates, it's about building an organization that can address issues over the long term, whoever the candidate or whoever the alderman or the state senator or whoever it might be.
Well, this is going to be a fun election, because I'm not going to have to worry about guests with all these different people running for alderman. So, anyway, so your meetings are about every other month. Okay, and you met. Where are some of the places you've met recently?
Our last meeting was actually in the school at Bethesda.
Okay.
And that was about getting people geared up to do work on the election campaign.
Okay, the meeting before that?
Was at Boone, I believe.
Well, actually, it was in your backyard.
Oh, it was in my backyard.
Okay, that'll work.
It was a summertime
in
meeting.
the summer.
So we met in my backyard. But we've met at Boone, and we've done several things. We spend a lot of time sort of talking about issues that people want to work on, and then making plans to work on them. So one of the things that we've done back in, I guess probably about 6 months ago, was a basketball tournament. The issue of things for young people to do in the neighborhoods come up.
Right.
So we partnered with a number of schools and with Warren Park and did a basketball tournament for the 7th and 8th grade schools. So we had 6 schools participate, both boys and girls teams, came over there, had 3 nights, and I think one of the things that was fascinating to me was that every night we had between 60 and 100 young people, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, come out to Warren Park to watch their friends play basketball.
That's pretty good.
I think the important thing here is that this was a group of public and private schools, so that we made an attempt to bring parents together throughout the neighborhood. Sometimes there's a split between those families that go to public schools and those that go to private schools. But we felt that it was important to create a community of interest here, both around sports activities and also for parents to get to know each other, because they tend to move in separate circles.
I think that sounds good. But at this point, I want to thank you very much, Chris Brown and Zach Shiffman of the Rogers Park Community Organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
West Rogers Park Community Organization, WRPCO. Sorry about that. Email again, real quick, is
rcbbrown, 2 B's, at sbcglobal.net.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, and good luck with your organization.
Thank you.